I can't even pick him up.
He's got to be 5 pounds.
That's a hell of a lure too you were using.
Oh. What's up, YouTube? Justin from Mayman Bassing. Gonna do a product review today. I've got the Spro BBZ1 Rat 50, my favorite lure. My favorite lure of all time. This bass helped me fall in love with fishing because I just didn't know much about fishing and used it, and crushed a lot of bass, a lot of big bass with this, over 3 pounds at least. Just really an amazing lure. It's made by Spro Sport Professionals. The designer's name is Bill Siementhal. He's a Hall of Fame angler. He's caught over a couple hundred 10-pound bass. Before I jump into the specifics, I just want to preface a couple things. One is that I am not alt-right. I just happen to be wearing a white polo, so don't mix me in with that group. And then two, I was thinking about this video, I wanted to talk about the specifics and then sink in some footage, a compilation footage of me destroying bass with this. Unfortunately, my external hard drive crashed like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so I lost almost all the footage I had. I was able on my hard drive to find a couple videos, they're iPhone videos, of me catching some big bass with it. So it's not ideal, but I'll put that in, and then I found some pictures too of some big bass I've caught with this fish. So I'll sync those in at the end. I'll talk about the specifics and sync those in at the end. But so this is a topwater lure. It's got some natural walking action. It is from the beginning of the tail to the nose, it's 5 1/4 inches. It is 2 1/4 ounces in weight, so it's a pretty heavy lure. You need a big setup. I'll talk about the setup in a minute. It's 2 pieces that kick back and forth, you know, and then the body is 2 pieces, then you have your articulating tail. Give you a nice close-up. The tail is plastic. It's got some string through the middle. You can see it now. I mean, it's just in the water. That tail is just, the action on the tail is just amazing. Oh God. Perfect segue. Well, I'll go right into the hooks. Those are I think they're size 3 Gamakatsus. I'm not really sure. I don't know what hook sizes, but these are some Gamakatsu treble hooks. Incredibly sticky. Just beefy. If these types of fish, man, if you got the right setup, you got, you know, over a 90% chance of bringing that fish in the boat. And then they got those split rings. The body it's heavy, but the back end I think is a little hollow, and it's got like a ball bearing in it, you know, so when you're retrieving it through the water, you can hear the metal, which I don't like, but it just makes so much sound coming through that water. The bass they just annihilate this thing. It's crazy. You got a square bill on it, so you can crank it. You can crank it down, put your rod tip down, you increase your retrieval speed. You can crank it to about 6 inches. It's got that split ring you can tie off to. I do use a swivel hook for mine, I think. No, actually, no, I don't. At this point, I'm not. I'm just throwing this exclusively. But you could. Last year I used a swivel hook, and I caught a lot of bass with it. So you can use a swivel hook. If you want to geek out, you can glue. You can use hot glue to glue mono, like pieces of mono in here to make whiskers. But I don't do that. But you could if you wanted to. Paint job on the bottom. One of the reasons I think the Ninja works so well, they all work really well, but one of the things I like anyways is the contrast in colors here. You got your black, red, and white, so it's just a lot of flair. That's pretty much the body. And then, so we'll talk about setup. You need the right setup. The right setup is crucial. If you don't have the right setup, your hookup ratio starts to suffer a lot, dramatically. You want a big stick. You want a heavy. I have an 8-foot extra heavy Cousins Rays, and that works really well. My hookup ratio with this is over 90% with that. You need heavy line. If you're using braid, you want like 55, 60-pound braid. And then, but the designer is really particular about the mono. He prefers mono, and it sounds like he prefers mono anyways, and it's 18-pound mono, and that's really specific. Once you start, anyways, so 18-pound mono is what you want. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And then for your really want a bait caster, you want a size 300, something comparable to a size 300 size bait caster. You need a lot of line. You can really bomb this thing. I mean, it's pretty heavy, and you got an 8-foot pole or a 7.6 or a 7.10, 7.11. You can really bomb this thing. Extra heavy pole. You could throw this thing 50, 60 yards. If there's wind, maybe more. You can really chuck this thing. But you need that, so you need more line on your reel. That's why you want that 300 size spool. And also, it's a heavy lure. When you're casting it, it's bombing out at high speeds, and you're catching big fish. So you need that drag setup, and you need gears that'll last you and won't strip out. So you need the bigger size reels. I would not use a spinner on this. I would just stick with a bait caster. Just stick to what I was saying there. If you can find some setup like that, or you can check out Sproby BZ1 Rat on YouTube, and he actually has specific recommendations for your setup. But it's really important that you stick on that setup. You start changing those numbers, your hookup ratio just really takes a dive. It's a pretty versatile bait when it's in the water. It's top water, and it's just got some natural walking. I'll try to show you, it just kicks back and forth, so it walks. It doesn't like walking darts back and forth, when you see someone walk a lure. This stays in a straight line, but that back end kicks back and forth, that tail kicks back and forth. So it naturally walks, and the best retrieve is just a slow retrieve. You just bring it through that water steady, and it comes through that water and kicks back and forth, makes a lot of noise. Fish get curious. They smash this lure. The blow-ups on it are just they're pretty fun. It's what this rat made me fall in love with fishing. I mean, I don't think I would be fishing right now if I didn't have this rat, because not knowing anything about fishing, and this thing just is like a fish magnet. So if you like what I've said so far, there'll be a product link in the description box, and you can just click that. It'll bring you to Amazon. You can buy it from there. I just wanted to mention that before I forgot. But you can dead stick this. Just sits in the water, just you can just bomb it out and then just twitch it every now and again. If it's like the winter and they're real slow, you could just twitch it every now and again, reel it in, twitch it a little. And as I mentioned before, you can crank it if you lower your rod tip and increase your retrieval speed. It'll dive down. It'll crank down to about 6 inches from the surface. Now it's not. This square bill sort of protects you from like major structure, but you don't want to throw it in grass. It'll get caught up in the grass. You want to throw it right on the edge, as close as you can get to the grass, and then just bring it through. And it's so loud and it's so big, the fish, and it it poses a threat, I think, to the fish, and so they'll come up and hammer it. So it doesn't need to be. It'll draw fish out from everywhere. So it doesn't, you don't need to have it in the grass. You could actually knock it off, like, as long as there's no submerged structure or like twigs and timber, you can knock it off. If there's like wood sticking out, the water, you can knock it off the wood and then dead stick it and try to mimic an injured rodent. It's really cool. It hasn't happened to me, but you can bring fish up from 40 feet with this, and then it will catch smallmouth all year long, but particularly, in the spring, pre-spawn, they'll actually come up and try to nail this thing, and the hooks will get in their mouth. And then in the summer, after spawn, you know, they don't hit it as much. They sort of bump it a lot, and they come up and they jump over. It's pretty cool. So you can catch smallmouth and largemouth. Your hook set, if you're in largemouth territory, you really want to, as soon as you usually see it or hear it first before you feel it, but as soon as you see it or hear it, you just want a nice hard hook set, and you want to sweep. Okay, you don't want to bring your rod tip up. You want to sweep it across your body. And if you're in smallmouth territory, I usually let it sink. Like, I let it dip under the water. I let them tug it under, or I watch the line and see if it straightens out, because a lot of times they're just coming up and bumping it and jumping over it, and they're not really making solid contact with it. So I'll wait till I have a little more evidence that they've attacked the lure before I set my hook set. But then it's the same thing, and you want to sweep it. That's pretty much it. This lure I've caught like last year. I caught like at least 50 bass, and most of them were over 3 pounds. So we'll talk about the cons. One of the cons is that after you catch like 10 bass, this tail starts to loosen up right here, and so it'll like hang straight down, and then this will marry. The hook will marry. I can almost do it now, you know. So that kind of sucks when that happens. You can change the tail. You just, like, I have an Allen wrench, a real small Allen wrench, and I don't know if you can see it right there, but on this side you can push the Allen wrench through and then use your pliers to pull a toothpick out, change the tail. Here's the box it comes in, and it comes with an extra tail, but you can also order them as well. And then there are instructions included on how to change that tail. So that's one con, is that this will marry, and it does, and it is kind of annoying, but it's rectifiable. You can change it. And then the other con is that, and this is right off the bat, this hook will marry with the line. Your line's going to feed off here, and that will marry. Usually what that is that your cast, and as you become more comfortable with this lure, you can actually cast. It's really cool. You can cast it and keep it just straight like that, and then it'll actually land just like that, and so you can seriously decrease the chance of your line marrying with the hook there. It's when you cast it and you get, and it's spinning everywhere like that, that's when you're going to get your marriage between the line and the hook. But and then, like, even if it's 50 yards away, a lot of times, like 60 to 70% of the time, you can actually you can unhook it. You just, like, it's really cool. You just kind of like twitch your rod tip, you give it slack and then twitch it, and sometimes you pull it down and then twitch it and it'll come off. It's pretty cool. Like more than half the time you can fix that. So that's it. I'm trying to keep this short and sweet. I don't think I missed anything. Really awesome lure. As I said, there's a product link. If you look in the description box, you can click it. It'll bring you to Amazon. You can buy it from there. I just, I fell in love with this. I don't think I'd be fishing if I didn't have this lure. I think if you're new to fishing, this is the lure you want. And even if you're not new to fishing, pretty incredible. The top water on it, action on it, or the blow-ups are just, they're so fun, man. And even if the fish aren't hitting it, it's a great search bait, because they get so curious, they'll follow it right to your boat. So it'll, tell you if bass are in that area is holding bass or not. So that's it. I don't want to ramble on forever. Awesome lure. I think it's like $23. Just really an incredible lure. But that setup's really important. You need that setup. Big stick, 18-pound mono, 300 size reel. Don't change anything. Just stick to that formula, and you should be really good. Anyways, right now I'm going to sink in some video of me catching fish, and I'll throw some pictures in there as well. And just trust me when I tell you, you will catch fish with this. It's $23, but it's well worth it. As long as you, this is really important too. Every 2 fish I catch, I change the line because I'm using mono. If you're running braid, you could probably get away with more, but I always use mono. That knot goes through a lot of stress. You got gigantic fish pounding this thing on the regular and twisting it up, and it's getting that, you know, that knot's getting a lot of stress and pressure. If you don't change it, it will snap off. So you need to retie. I retie mine every 2 bass. And even though it is $23, I can spend, in one day, I can go through, you know, $16 worth of soft plastic rodents, you know. So this, you won't, as long as you retie, you'll always have these. These will last forever. And you can touch them up with paint yourself if you want. So it is expensive, but you gotta understand that if you fish at all, if you're new to fishing, you probably won't understand, but soft plastics are insanely expensive, and one is you litter them. There's just, I hate soft plastics because it's just, you're littering in the lake, and 2, you spend a lot of money on soft plastics. So a one-time investment of this, you'll be fine. Anyways, here are the videos. I don't want to ramble on forever. Get this bait. This bait is awesome. All right. Thanks for watching. Here are the videos.